So what I've seen is with the rise of social media, Instagram and Facebook, I'm seeing it happen more often on Facebook. There's this natural temptation or feeling within agents that they've always had. I don't want to look like I'm doing things to get business too much. I don't want to lead generate. I don't want to get rejected. So I'm going to attract business to me. Okay. And you're seeing it heavy out there with just people with the most perfect Instagram profiles and posts. So what they're doing is they're using marketing as a way to attract. And they look great. And it's almost websites 15 years ago. They look great. I just wish people would see the website. I wish they'd come to my website. And so they're putting themselves out there all over the place. And then when the market slows down for whatever reason, business slows down and they really want more business, but they don't want to act like they want more business. So the key to it is, as we all know, with any database, is to stay first of mind and layer it with multiple different touches from different arenas. It can be email, it can be text, it can be Facebook, it can be direct messenger. Just not ever asking directly, especially when we're talking about a sphere of influence or even a geographic farm, or where I really want to stay focused right now, because those two do represent the bulk of the business in the country, the vast bulk, and that's the business these people want. They're clearly marketing to their friends by presenting themselves perfectly and showing their listings and doing whatever they do out there, trying to add value with home tips and all, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which is great. I'm not knocking that. I think that should be done, but that's just one of the layers. And I see it happening all the time. And as agents get very reluctant to adding any other layers for fear of offending. And what we really need to be doing is layering it. And the way we do that is really simple. And it's really important, even though this might be redundant to people that have worked with us for a long time. I do want to say there is a 7-to-1 conversion rate on your database. Now, we've got lots of little databases out there, and I'll explain the 7-to-1 conversion rate, but this is crucial to understand. You've got a database of people in the MLS on listing eAlerts. You've got a database of people that follow you on Instagram. You've got a database of friends on Facebook. Integrating them all is just not going to happen. So the only way you can come close to integrating them is getting them into a CRM, a customer or client relationship manager. And that's how we can find all the different contact information on to stay in front of them in lots of different ways so we stay first of mind. Also, so I'll give you an example. With a 7-to-1 conversion rate, here's what it means. If you have 300 people in your database and you appear in front of them or contact them 100 times a year, then you should get a 7-to-1 conversion ratio, which means if you have 300 people and you're able to do this for an entire year, the following year, you should get about 43 transactions a year. Okay. The way that math works out, those 43 closed transactions, I just took the median home price, 7,500 in gross commission income times 43 transactions. We've got a solo agent now making 322,000 with a database of only 300 people, which is a rather modest one. And again, redundant to people that have worked with us for a while, but please understand, and I know that seems outrageous, like that doesn't work. Everybody goes right there. You know what I mean? They go straight to scarcity. No, it does work. What doesn't work is people won't do the 100 contacts. That's what doesn't work. No one does that. It is a very few. It's why people get coaches. Self-serving, I know, but that's why people get accountability. And I'm not saying you have to call people 100 times a year. That would get you a restraining order, not 43 transactions. What we want instead of that is we want a layered approach. And if you think 100 Instagram posts are going to do it a year, it's just not going to do it. We have to layer that out. So the very first step there, that an agent that's trying to finally build their CRM and get it organized for the first time, That's going through your phone and getting there what you have for them. You usually have a phone number, that's something. You usually have a mailing address, that's something, right? You got their name, hopefully. And it's got to be someone that you know, or at least knows you. They would know who you are if I asked them what your name is. Okay? They would recognize your name. Now you're just above spam. That's what we're looking for, is some sort of connection that is based. We're not, and so we got a lot of agents that are watering down with all these leads they got from random places. They don't know who they are, and they don't know who you are. That isn't going to work if you send out a mailer to 10,000 people. You're going to go broke. So we really got to love on a group of people that know who you are. That's your SOI. Now, the same thing can work with a geographic farm. We may not know them, but we're going to start saturating them over time and stay first of mind in all these different ways. Okay? The same thing's true if you have Instagram and Facebook. We can get on Instagram and Facebook. We can find clients' contact information. We can ask them for it in a direct message. Real simple. It's, hey, want to be able to send you something for your birthday and or over the holidays, which everybody wants. Can I get your mailing address? Great. I got you. Can I get your email address? Great. Simple as that. And you can have very few people say no to that. Everybody wants a birthday card. Everybody wants to collect the most Christmas cards. Okay? So if we have those simple things, it opens up another way to layer and add a lot of, and I think this is the most powerful way to layer because it provides real estate relative content. And I'm going to say it to start, and everybody's going to go, oh. And I'll tell you right now, I see this work at the highest level. It's listing eAlerts. But you got to have a CRM to do listing eAlerts. You got to get organized. That's why people get coaches, to get organized, because no one likes to get organized. People like to be organized. So listing eAlerts are powerful in so many different ways with these different databases. For example, to me, there's 4 databases. I'll start with the obvious 2. You all use listing eAlerts for this one. I've got a buyer who's looking to buy sometime in the next year or two. So I'm going to go into the MLS and I'm going to set up listing eAlerts so that they receive listings that meet their criteria. And we set those up, just so you know, always automatically. So the minute, not a weekly, not a monthly, the minute that listing goes live, we check the box in MLS that says immediately they get an email. Now we are dripping on them. Touch. That's why listing eAlerts were created. That should not be crazy. That's what keeps them off Zillow, just to let you know. That being said, so when we are also with listings, listings are very powerful. Almost no one uses them with listings, right? So let's say you've got a listing that wants to list sometime in the next year or two. We're going to actually draw a listing eAlert map in MLS or your CRMs. A lot of CRMs support these, where you actually just do their neighborhood. That way, the minute one of their neighbors' homes goes up for sale, they instantaneously get an email so that now they can look at their potential competition. They can size up the price of their home. They can take a look at how much their house is going up or down in value. They can look at the amenities versus their amenities. It's probably the most valuable value add for people to get. I know I personally own properties all over the place in different states, things like that. And I am on listing eAlerts for every single one of them. And I have no intention of selling. I like to see my values and how those markets are doing. So it's educational. It's very real estate relevant. It's not spammy at all. If it's spammy, it's because you've set them up on too many, like too big or broad of a search. We have to get real creative on the search. And people will absolutely respect you. The great thing about it, it's autopilot. It stays forever. Like you just set it and forget it, and you get a phone call possibly a few years later. Hey, that email you sent me. And with a lot of CRMs, you can actually see when your potential clients are actually going in there and looking at it. So very valuable. So as a coach, if we're having someone set up their database, I always first we go to Facebook, we make sure we follow them on Facebook, we follow them on Instagram, we group them in our clients list on in those areas. Or if we're pulling out of those sources and putting them into our CRM, it kind of works both ways. We always set up a listing eAlert search too. Always. And that's a great reason to call them and say, hey, I set you up on this. I'm going to give you full realtor access into the MLS. For those of people saying, oh, no, my clients don't want that. They just go on Zillow. Again, guys, we're going to give them realtor access. So often understand Zillow is a secondary feed. It's often delayed. You get properties 2, 3, 4 days later. The best priced homes in the best condition that are most desirable, we're going to have to get in and look at very quickly. So you're going to be better off to see it this way if you really want to get one of these houses. So it's very important we understand and we educate around that kind of stuff and keep them off Zillow so they actually need our value. And quite frankly, they do. That's the deal. Now, it comes out a little bit further, and this is where a lot of people don't use it. And it's very important we do use it, and that's for your sphere of influence. I would have every member of my sphere of influence set up on this for their immediate neighborhoods. Okay. So that we're always adding. Okay. So what we're doing is we're going to actually set every single member of our sphere of influence. Again, we got to keep it tight. And it's a quick phone call. We're going to let them know, hey, I got this new tool. I'm going to give you direct realtor access to the association. And every time one of your neighbors home goes up for sale, we're going to, number one, you're going to get it immediately that morning. So you'll know it oftentimes before the sign goes up. Number two, you're going to be able to look through photos of your neighbor's home. That's the kicker. They all want to do that. Because you've seen it. Everybody's had an open house in a neighborhood and all the looky-loo neighbors. Oh, don't worry. We're just looky-loo neighbors. Now you're going to let everyone do that. Okay, so they can do it. So all of a sudden they're staying up to date. I just want you to know how your home's going up in value. If you don't like it, you can always subscribe at the bottom, or you can text me and I'll shut it down. You have a reason to follow up with them every now and then to make sure they're not getting too many emails, to make sure that they're getting enough emails, that they're seeing them all. Very important though, you don't screw this up because you need to look like an expert. They have to go immediately. Don't send them the weekly update or something like that. Do not do that. Okay, because now you're giving them late news. Here's the key. It's got to come immediately, and you better not screw up on their neighborhood boundaries. Because if all of a sudden a low price home comes in that's not really one of their neighborhood, it's going to make you look like you don't understand. So you have to draw tight lines on your map search so you know the boundaries of that neighborhood, so you send them like-kind properties. Very true if you're farming. Very true if you're farming. Okay, if you're farming, don't blend into other neighborhoods and stuff like that. Keep it tight. You can design it with farming. This is the most powerful tool if you're farming neighborhoods, because everybody wants to see that, and your name will drip on these people that you may not know yet. And they'll always rely on you. So they'll start to learn that you're the person that's educating them on the prices in their neighborhood. You can layer that into open houses in that neighborhood and start telling people about it and get more people signed up for it. But you got to get the contact information for these farms. And there's tons of services. We use RedX a lot. RedX Geo Leads is very affordable. It's something like $60 a month. Super affordable. So very important. Now we're using it in lots of different ways because now we're providing a service, right? We're actually doing work for them. And as we're doing work for them, what's happening is we have reasons to follow up. We have reasons to talk to them. We have reasons to reach out. We can see when they access it. And it's real estate relevant. That's the key. It's the one real estate relevant touch that actually shows that you're providing value that is related to real estate. I mean, yeah, I love client events. That's another great layer on your SOI, or a block party for a farm. But it's not real estate relevant. We have to layer different touches to stay first of mind. You see what I'm saying? Same with Facebook. Yes, they see us, but are we really giving them anything? It's really just a hope and a dream with a very low conversion rate. You can have tons of followers, but only a few that use you. And all you're showing is you can market in brand, which is something. Mind you, you'll make their house look good inside of your branding, and that is good. But if we're not adding different layers of value to stay first of mind, that's why I like the real estate relevant piece. It's okay, this one means business. This one's actually giving me stuff. I'm looking at it. Very powerful. Not hard to do. It just takes time. So, like, we'll often have our clients like try to set up, add 5 people to their sphere of influence a day, for example. And it could be 5 people that we follow on Facebook and Instagram that we try to set them up in our CRM with whatever contact information they have, maybe reach out with a direct message on Facebook and Instagram to get the rest of it, and then set them up on a listing e-alert, then call them to let them know we've set them up on a listing e-alert. Setting them up on a listing e-alert also is a reason to ask them for a phone number. Do you need it for that? No, but I ask it. Hey, I need your email to send this to you. Great. Hey, I got you. I need to have your phone number too. Or could you give me your phone number too? Simple as that. So all of a sudden, you're creating avenues where you can stay first of mind and we can start getting up to diversified 100 contacts. Now, I always say 50 of those 100 can come from some sort of social media contact. That's fine. It can be mailers, it can be text message, it can be a phone call, it can be lots of different things. But we have to diversify to get that business, which means you need to be organized up front. So you take it slow. This could be the year that you start adding these every single year, and you'll be reaching out as you do it. So you're going to get business from it. Just understand that it takes an entire year to get the conversion ratio of 7 to 1 to show up. So we have to put 100 contacts over it first. So you may not get 143 transactions your first year, but you will get it. You will get it. It'll just be the year after, depending how quickly it is. And then all of a sudden, we just keep every time we add someone to our database, Facebook follow, Instagram follow, set them up on a listing e-alert. Then we just start layering next year. We start adding some farms. Okay. And do the same way. It's another database. Just remember, we don't know them as well. So we've got to find them. And that's where we can get a lot of online sources to find those. And we can help you with that as well, too. But it's a foundational aspect of real estate. It's an underutilized tool. And it's the one that even people that know everything about real estate love to get listing e-alerts because they don't know what that next house is selling for, getting listed for. Very valuable. People get too much into the shiny object thing and they go after these new, oh, I want this and I want that. This one's sitting right in front of us, sitting right in front of us. So I hope that helps. Remember, we got to layer a database. Don't just sit back and rely on your marketing and your branding. It is not enough if you're looking to sell more real estate. It's good if you like what you got right now. But if you're looking to sell more real estate, it's time to add some layers.